So welcome to Don't Follow the Shepherd. I know it's a peculiar name, but if you follow it on the website, you'll get it. I have Carrie Pohlman with me today. She's fascinating because she's a luxury lifestyle expert, but covers the gamut. She has a background in chartered jets and yachts. She worked as a flight attendant on some of these private jets as well. She's owned her own businesses. She's catered to luxury. She's immersed herself in luxury, and now she's a broker in one of the toughest markets in the world because it's so high end and the volume is huge. So I'll let her take it away with a little bit. Can you tell me your background from your words, if you
Yeah, sure.
care to?
Thanks for the intro, and I'm
Sure.
happy to be here and have this chat today. Um, my background as far as schooling, I have a communications and public relations degree. I've had several different businesses throughout the years, and in addition to catering to the luxury lifestyle with yachts, yachts, and residences, I've been immersed in it, so I fully understand the expectations and the values that people are seeking when they're looking for these luxury properties and experiences to be able to tie it in seamlessly.
Well, and the other thing is that when I talked to you a little bit about sustainability, you were already on that. Like eco luxury is something that comes second nature to you because that's the way the industry is moving, right?
Totally. And that's been a big conversation, especially since the fires have happened with the rebuilds. I'm working closely with some developers and builders who are going to be handling a lot of the areas that need to be reconstructed. And I've been attending town hall meetings, and a lot of the questions are surrounding like, what are we going to do to make it, better next time this happens? Because obviously you can't just say that fires won't happen again in these areas. They're high risk areas. So really now our responsibility in the real estate and the building side is how to make it like most sustainable, least prone to risk, and just understand and put that in place how it works, because I think it was the last fires, the Woolsey fires. Um, and I'm just learning about this because I'm from Florida. I'm new to California.
Right.
This is my first fire I've been through, and it's been a crazy experience, but I was super surprised to find the rate and percentage of rebuilds that had happened since that fire so many years ago. So a lot of my questions were, well, what's going to be different this time? What have we learned? What can we like implement now to help us moving forward?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to back up for people interested in sustainability. Building and construction contributes to like 40% of the greenhouse gas emissions, and so on top of that, when you lose things to a fire like this in such volume, that also, of course, contributes. But coming from Florida, it's interesting. Did you feel more prepared dealing with hurricane season? I mean, the fires, it's like when I lived in Alaska, wildfires happen every day. But
Oh, really?
this was a structure, well, not every day, I'm exaggerating, but
Oh, often though, yeah.
yeah, this
No,
is a
I mean,
structural fire. This is
it
not really, go ahead, sorry.
really like I feel like this was one of the most, if not the most, like traumatic and impactful situations that I've been through. I felt very um involved, very in it while it was happening. But to answer your question, I mean, hurricanes, you have noticed that they're coming. So you have days to prepare, and as kind of ironic as it is, like the Florida culture is like, all right, we get days off school, work, let's have a hurricane party. Let's all, whose house are we going to evacuate to, you know? And it's kind of, you know how to prepare for it. You know what's coming. There's no preparation for this. It
Yeah,
happens
my
so
my
quickly.
my brother lives in Coral Gables. I don't know how he's handled hurricanes over the years. but this seemed like we were so unprepared. I don't want to throw criticism in any way, but I'm astounded at how unprepared we seem. But anyways, going back to the luxury stuff. Well, so wow, that's a lot. First of all, that's a lot for you to deal with, and I'm sorry because you moved here and had to deal with and you're still probably learning the city because it's so huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I really am. I live over on the west side, and I was actually in the Palisades looking at a house when the fire started.
Oh wow.
Um, and I remember walking outside and I was like, what is happening? Is this Armageddon? The sky was completely black. And within like 15 minutes, I got a notice to evacuate. But yeah, it was a very larger than life experience. And I mean, I'm okay. I'm very lucky that my home is okay, but my heart just like goes out so much to everyone affected. And I know a handful or two of people who have lost their homes and just kind of like firsthand, secondhand, not firsthand, but secondhand seeing how it changes so many people's lives is just really shook me to the core. I actually evacuated down to San Diego and I stayed down there for a few weeks and I wasn't even sure if I wanted to come back to LA and live here or not.
Yeah, there are some peer review studies out there that look at, well, people often say, oh, those people have the money and resources to rebuild, blah, blah, blah. But the peer review research from the standpoint of trauma, you know, losing your house, no matter how many homes you have, is
Yeah,
super traumatic. And I think that that kind of empathy was not necessarily shared by all. And it's just there's so many things on the physical health level, public health level, that is, on the emotional health. I mean, this is a bigger deal than people in the rest of the country, I think, realize. And
100%.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to put into perspective, but you know, and speaking of which, though, the reason I mention responsible rather than sustainable is because when I used to be in the natural resources field, we would talk about responsible over sustainable because not everything falls under sustainability, but responsibility can be kind of ethical practices
Yeah,
um, of negotiating, brokerage, those kind of things, which we don't have to get into that so much, but as much as rebuilding in a way that's responsible. And, I think there are three categories I've come across. Correct me if I'm wrong. People are typically interested in kind of the ethics of their luxury development. They're interested in the financial costs, sustainability to them in terms of costs, and then also in terms of I'm missing one. Maybe help me out if you can think of something. But there are different reasons that people are interested in sustainability.
yeah, I mean the world, our environment is just
Environment, of
I
course.
thought it was environment. Um, our environment is just in such a delicate place. I mean, a lot of my clients, I'm lucky to be aligned with people that truly do care about these matters and people in the luxury space that can afford to make an impact and kind of start these trends towards sustainability and responsibility. And when it starts at the higher levels, it trickles down and becomes mainstream amongst everyone. It's kind of like, trend setting in a positive way. And I think it's beautiful for people to be mindful and be aware of the impact that they're making and be aligned with the people that do that.
As a broker, when you're doing with your marketing experience, do you try to post when there are opportunities to highlight a sustainable practice? Do you sense that the real estate experts are going that way? Like, do you highlight that, or is it kind of assumed now that people are doing that?
No, it's not assumed. It's still a new trend. I think I definitely try and highlight it and bring it to the front of people's attention who I know care about it and will put effort and thought and energy and time and money into things like that.
Great. What are
Yeah.
what are some examples of maybe amenities that people be surprised even exist?
Yeah, one that I really like is the tinted glass. They do like a triple tinted glass on their floor to ceiling windows and doors and whatnot, and it'll automatically tint with the sunlight. So that, saves on a lot of your AC or heating bills, whatever. It has a ripple effect into all the other energy that goes into your house. Um,
Is that proven to protect wildlife from I did an article years ago. I commented on a piece. Actually, it was for a house and not House and Garden, but a real estate publication about protecting birds from flying in. They use
oh,
those patterns, but like they'll use silhouettes of birds. But I wonder if that tinted glass actually protects birds and other wildlife from going right through the glass or breaking
yeah.
necks.
Yeah, that's a good question. Gosh, I don't know too much about that. I'm sure are much more informed about speaking on that than I am. I
Yeah.
haven't researched that specific aspect of it.
Um, what else was I gonna say? Oh, saltwater pools are very common these days, right?
Probably, yeah, I'd say they're more common than not. Um, I think, you're seeing a lot of solar panels and not just people aren't just throwing them up like in the luxury space, they're integrating them into, so it's being thought of on the forefront rather than an afterthought more and more. So
Okay.
especially with the rebuilds, it's being incorporated into the infrastructure rather than just like throw some panels up on like a Spanish style roof that doesn't go, it's they're building it in with the whole roof where it makes sense and it looks good and maximizing on the aesthetics as well as the functionality of it. So
What about oh,
mind
go ahead, sorry.
sorry, there's a lot more mindful building going on.
What about water features? Or I guess I ask about water features because um I know my dad who lives in Las Vegas. He lives in this gated community, and they're cutting down on water usage, so the water features have been replaced. But are people still interested in? Maybe that's more of a landscape architecture question, but
Kind of. What are they being replaced with? I know that Vegas is very dry and they've been having water issues for a long time.
I think they just fill them with rock, like rockscaping. So
Oh,
like fake rock, and they just fill it in with planters and stuff.
yeah. Yeah. Uh,
And like so. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Well, I think what happens, like I used to be a big fan of like these fancy water gardens and these waterfalls and all this stuff. Because working in zoological facilities, we had all these naturalistic things, and I got obsessed with it. But the problem is that if you do that today, you're potentially wasting water, right? So people are a little less inclined to I think do full water features, big garden ponds, and you know, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall people are just more mindful of these types of things.
And you're speaking of mindfulness. I know you're a yogi or you have a background in yoga. Do you find people incorporating into their indoor gyms any unique spaces that include cater to this kind of thing?
Totally, totally. Yeah, so much and so often. Yeah, I did my yoga teacher training right after college, and I'm super passionate about yoga. I make sure to go at least 3 times a week because it's just such a good mental balance, reset, and stress reliever. But to answer your question, yeah, you'll see people put in, yoga spaces so that you can go to a certain area of your yard overlooking the canyon or something and have your sunrise or sunset yoga there. People will do make a room in their home, a yoga studio,
You
similar to
you
like
might
a gym.
laugh at this. You might laugh at this, but I do bar yoga. I'm certainly the only guy in my class.
I love it.
Do people put, I bet people have bars though installed, right? It's not uncommon to have that in your gym.
I haven't seen a ton of them, but I've seen a few of them. Yeah. It's just personal preference. I think a big part of luxury too is the customization of what works with your lifestyle. So if you're designing a house, that's something you'll want in your workout room, right? If that's something you don't do, then you don't need to have it. And it's not something that comes customary in a home. It's something you specialize to.
Now, forgive me, this is probably a dumb question, but will you see multiple gyms in a household, one catering to perhaps the guy, one to I mean, to the woman, or is that my misogyny speaking, like thinking that there's some kind of distinction? Because when I go to the gym today, a public gym, you know, even some of the guys and gals like machines, whereas other people like free weights. It all depends on what there's, like you said, customization.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen like a men's gym and a women's gym in a home. I think because also it's not a public space. Like
Right.
you're not having a bunch of random guys or girls come
Right.
into your space that you want to stay away from. But I have seen like different rooms within like kind of a workout part of the compound. Like you'll have a weights room and then a cardio room and a yoga studio. And the same goes for like wellness suites. There'll be an infrared sauna, a dry sauna, a cold plunge, steam room, like three different types of saunas in the same vicinity.
And what's like the craziest thing you've seen, or maybe the most accommodating thing you've seen for a pet?
For a pet.
Like, is
I've seen someone build out a room for their dogs just for like grooming and maintenance and kind of like a kid's room, but a dog room.
got it?
Like playing, yeah.
Wow. I mean, they're like one of the curiosities I have. I've never seen anyone who's owned one, but they have beds in a master bedroom that has like a cutout for their pets, and their pets, like, that's their little den. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's charming, but I don't know how I don't know more about it because I haven't used it.
Oh yeah, people love to spoil their pets like they spoil themselves. I've seen like little dog bed thrones and all designer gear.
Right.
There's a shop on like Rodeo that does all customized like dog bedding and it's all like Louis Vuitton and designer brand pup merch.
Right. It's that's a whole nother thing, like designing for dog. Now, uh, a couple last questions about relationships. Do brokers now have strong relationships with designers, interior designers, um, or not necessarily? Like,
Yeah, I mean, personally, I like to work with good people and form alliances and partnerships with people that I see that are aligned with me in the industry, whether it's builders, developers, designers, handyman, a pool guy, anyone that's adjacent to the real estate industry, and also like title people, escrow people. So you kind of like, there's obviously a lot of realtors out there and a lot of every industry, and you meet a lot of different people, but some people you just click with and you like how they do business, and then you'll keep them and sometimes form like a referral program with them. Staging companies too.
so you had your license in Florida, or you got it when you came here?
No, I got it when I came here.
Oh, okay, okay, got it. And you got made connections right in the chartered yacht and jet industry, right? Have that commingles, right? A little bit.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that got me interested in real estate to begin with. And I was kind of at a crossroads in my life of what I wanted to do for work. When I came to California from Florida, I just kind of started over and got to reinvent my direction and how I wanted to, manifest my life. And I looked at all my skill sets and the tools that I have. And I've got a lot of good connections in my social circles and in the luxury space, things that are very adjacent and have client overlap into the luxury real estate space. So it just made sense that real estate would be a good fit for me.
Yeah, no, I think you have like having family in commercial real estate. I understand how aggressive people need to be about their, and I mean aggressive in a nice way. Like you have to be ambitious, maybe is a better word.
Ambitious for sure.
Hyper,
Ambitious, not aggressive.
hyper ambitious. God, I'm always picking the right words. And
No, I just say that because I deal with there's a few very aggressive industry people that I've had to deal with, and that's been something forward like front of my mind recently is let's not be aggressive. Let's be I saw a quote the other day. It's aggressiveness or being aggressive is the lowest form of ambition.
yes,
And I love that.
yeah,
There's a
no,
way to go about it, you know? You don't have to like scream at someone to get what you want.
right, right. You can do it tactfully.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I so that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways to get a hold of you? You have a good size following on your Instagram account. Do you want to share that? Or I love the name, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I used to be classic Carrie before I got into real estate, and I
Okay.
was trying to come up with something that had a ring to it, but relevant in the space. So my Instagram is Carrie Closes Deals. I get a lot of leads from social media and communicate with a lot of people from Instagram, WhatsApp, word of mouth, text or call me anytime. My phone doesn't sleep.
And and she's very tech savvy, at least more tech savvy than me. Like she has some AI responsive programs that help assist her, and they're awesome. Like you can,
Yeah.
they're awesome. I'm
I'm
like,
trying to learn all the tools I can as quickly as I can to be as efficient as I can because there's just so much going on and it's so easy to fall behind and in this industry it's all about service, right? So and there's so many real estate agents and if someone is reaching out to you and you don't get back to them, there's 10 more just like you waiting on their on
100%. Like
call.
I think you're so ahead of the game though, because
Yeah,
you're taking advantage of all this stuff. You're kind of somewhat new to town, but you are, I mean, you're going to be a star if you're not already one. So
no, thank you. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to learn. Like I'm reading, watching, Googling late at night, real estate tools and tips and tricks and AI tools and like how can I get ahead of the curve? Because you really got just you have to be, we're in such a progressive time with all the AI that's going on. And I think a lot of the older brokers that are not willing to be adaptable to that are gonna start losing a lot of business to the people that are able to figure out how to be more efficient with it. So I'm trying to be on that end.
good on you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I want to let you get back to any of the stuff you're working on, but this was fun and I learned something. And you also inspired me, speaking of marketing, to figure out how to add text to my Zoom. So I'm so proud of myself for that. Although you can't see the logo, but what are you going to do?
Baby steps. It's all baby steps.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.